Hey everybody, it is 8:30. We're going to go ahead and get this started. Kind of just do some basic chatting until we get a couple people that have come online. Went ahead and started it early, testing out some new software settings. I want to see if I can make it work a little bit better. Let me switch my view over here. All right. So one of the things I wanted to go over tonight is the CRX settings. Or sorry, not the CRX settings, but the new CRX radio bezel that I am working on. This is going to be a very, very customizable bezel that we're going to be working on. I'm going to be coming out with a few versions of things that I think you guys would like. But I know there's going to be a lot of things that you guys want, more customization that you guys are going to want, which is 100% perfect. I want to make things that you guys, you guys want that will fit your cars, your style, your setup. So we're going to kind of go over some of those things. Let's see. Probably wait a few more minutes before I start showing things. Has anyone been following up on Stadia? If you guys follow my YouTube stuff, you'll notice that I do a lot of tech stuff as well as the Honda stuff, and I kind of try to bring the two together. One thing I've been focusing on a lot lately is the Google Stadia. Let me flip over here. So let's go to the Google Store. And under gaming. So if you guys haven't heard about this, this is a new streaming gaming service that Google is releasing. It's actually coming out exactly 2 weeks. Let me turn my hear my echo here. So there's no console to buy, no real hardware you have to buy. The controller is technically optional. What it is that so it's a game streaming service. There's no monthly fee. Basically, you buy the game. So for example, here, let's go over. So these are the games that are coming out or have already been confirmed. As soon as my computer decides it wants to load it here. So for example, like Cyberpunk 2077 that's coming out, I believe next March or April. It's going to be coming out, but it's not going to be out in 2 weeks when it releases. Doom Eternal, I think that one was pushed back. We might have Assassin's Creed Odyssey because it was actually part of Project Stream, which is their beta. Borderlands 3 probably will or very soon after. Destiny 2, this comes with the Founders Edition. So for those of us that pre-purchased the Founders Edition, they are all sold out now. But if you did pre-purchase, you get to play on the 19th. Or supposed to be able to play on the 19th. And you get the full Destiny 2 Founders, or the collection, which is all of the expansions, all of the DLCs, that kind of stuff that they had. And sorry, that's what most of us are probably playing. But like one of the other games I think that's supposed to release, a lot of guys are excited about. It's not my type of game. This Guilt game is supposed to be available, I believe, at launch. So what it is you buy the game just like you would any other time. Whether it's console, PC, whatever. You buy the game and then you just play it online. You play it inside of a Chrome browser. You can play it on a Chromecast Ultra with the controller. You can play it on your phone. You can play it. Actually, let's see what back over here. You can do on a tablet. So here you go. So you got laptop, your tablet, your phone. Oh, it always keeps going back. Your TV, anything that's got a Chromecast Ultra. The free version will support 1080p, 60 frames a second, and stereo sound. If you want higher than that, there is a monthly fee option, which is $10 a month. And that comes with, let's see, so you have the option for 4K or up to 4K if your internet and stuff can handle it. 60 frames a second still, and with 5.1 surround sound. And then you also get a couple extras with that monthly fee. They try to release a game or two a month. They haven't said exactly what games it is, how often they're going to be coming out, anything like that. We're still waiting for that information. But like Destiny 2 is part of the first month. So that's the game that we're getting kind of as the free game that comes with it. And then, you know, you pay $9.99 a month for that. I think you also get some discounts on games if you're part of that Pro, Stadia Pro, the $10 a month or $9.99 a month. If you bought the Founders Edition, you get 3 months of that automatically, and then you can continue if you want, or you can have the $10 a month type of thing, or you can go to the free version for the 1080. So anyway, there's a lot of games coming out for this. A lot of studios. They say they've got over 1,000 studios that have already signed up for their, what do they call it? SDK package. They're trying to make it as easy as possible to port games over, so older games can be played on this. And basically what it is you don't have to have a super fast internet. Basically all you need is, I think it's 15 or 20 megabits a second down, which most internet now is 50 plus. The lowest that my cable company offers is 50. So I'll probably only be using about half of my internet to play 1080p. But basically it's the same stream size as watching YouTube. If you can watch YouTube in 1080p, you can play Stadia in 1080p. And there's a little bit with the controller or your mouse and keyboard for your upload, but that's pretty much it. There are no games to download, nothing to install besides Chrome. I think there's an app for your phone that they're going to be coming out with here soon. The Pixel 2, Pixel 3, and Pixel 4 are going to be supposed to be supported at launch, and then they'll be expanding to other phones probably next year when they go to the... So only the founders, the people that basically pre-order, I think you can also buy the premium, they're the only ones that are going to be able to play this year. If you didn't get on that bandwagon, you'll have to wait till 2020, and we haven't got an exact day yet of when they're going to be moving to free to the public, or open to the public. This is kind of like a buy-in beta, I guess would be the easiest way to do, or to explain it. But the games are probably going to be normal price, same thing you're going to pay anywhere else. Let's just scroll through this here. See if you guys got the new Final Fantasy 15, Grid, Guilt, Football Manager, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, the new Marvel Avengers game, Grid, Metro Exodus is supposed to be coming. Orcs Must Die is kind of an internal. It's specifically, I think, designed for Stadia. There's a few things that Stadia can do that you can't do on a console, PC. Things like this Orcs Must Die, if I remember correctly, it was this one, where there's so much going on. And so this, I believe, can be a multiplayer or like a team, so you can do 2 or 4 player. And the whole idea of it is that there's so many computer characters and syncing and stuff going on that it would kill your internet connection trying to transfer a lot of that data back and forth and keeping everything synced, where all of this on Google Stadia is done at the data center level. So everything's inside the data center, so it's like playing on a local area network. and then streaming it out to whoever's playing it. So the advantages of that is that you can have larger maps, more characters on those maps, because everything's being handled internal at the data center level and then just streamed out to us. So you don't have to worry about, like, when you've got 4 people, like PUBG, for example, if you've played PUBG, so it's 100-person people on map, free for all. I'm drawing a blank on the type of game that it is. I'll probably hit me here in a second. But what it is, it's a free for all. So your computer is getting information, your console, whatever you're playing on, is constantly sending your location, your direction, what you have in your backpack, what gear you have, what gun you're holding, all that kind of stuff, constantly sending that to the other 99 players on, over the internet. And you're constantly getting feedback from where all those other 99 players are, what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of data being transferred back and forth everywhere between these 100 players. That's a lot of data going back and forth. Now take all of that and basically put all of those 100 players are technically playing on one data center, or maybe 2, but let's say one data center. It's all internal. All the stuff's being sent internal in the data center, gigabit network, where they can, or faster, where they can handle transferring that amount of data very, very easily. So now, one, you don't have to worry about transferring that. You're just watching a YouTube stream. So you technically, I don't know about how much bandwidth some of those games use, but you're not sending as much back and forth. There's going to be less lag on that end. You might still have. I've played Project Stream. I didn't notice any lag between keyboard and mouse and what I was doing on the screen. It's actually very, very fast. But if you've ever played a game and you've noticed a person kind of jumping across, they're not moving very smooth. That's the kind of lag where you're maybe the other person's internet isn't as good as yours and things like that. So this kind of keeps it a little more even, but it also makes it so that we can expand. So now we can have, like, let's say a 500 person match or 1,000 person match. It opens up some of these possibilities a lot more, so that we can do bigger things that we couldn't do before because of limitations of traffic and things like that. Another cool thing that they're talking about, and this is something the game developers have to build into the game, but this is what Google Stadia is trying to move towards, is getting things, these things that support the data center and aren't built on our current gaming platforms that we have now. Another thing that they're going to hopefully allow us to do is, let's say you're playing a game like Battlefield, where you're like you could do Battlefield, you can do, I'm going to use Battlefield as an example. So you're out in a battlefield, and let's say your team of let's say 6 people, 5 or 6 people, you're kind of spread out a little bit, or you do spread out. Well, you can actually get a stream of, like, a view, or let's say like a webcam of what they're wearing. Let's say they've got a cam on their helmet. You can get a cam, let's say across your screen, across the top of your screen. I'm going to switch this back here. So across your screen, you've got at the very top, you're going to have one person, one person here, person here, person here. You can have 3 other streams across yours, and you can see what they see. Or you can have somebody like a sniper that can, tag. What game did I have where you can tag? I think some of the Far Cry's did it, where you could actually, if you could see them, it would tag them and then follow kind of a little red triangle over each one of the enemies, and it would tag them, and then you could see where they were because you have this aerial person. So it gives you the advantage where you can see all of that without having to have them stream up to you, and then you download that stream. That's a lot of video streaming going back and forth that we couldn't, not necessarily we couldn't do before, but anybody that was doing it had to have a very, very good internet connection, because you're getting 3 streams and then condensing it down to, little, like 480p versions of their stream, so you can see what they're doing. This would do it all, so you're still seeing the same 1080p stream, but Google's doing all of the video encoding before it sends it down to you. So you're really still watching a video, a YouTube video. So there's a lot of advantages to it. There are, disadvantages as well, that, you're always, to play a game, you're going to have to be on the internet. As simple as that. You're getting, just like if you can't watch YouTube, you can't play your video game. They said they're not going to be supporting like the LTE. So if you're not on Wi-Fi, if you're just on a cellular network, that they're going to block that at the beginning. And I think they're still trying to fine tune a lot of the codecs. They want to make sure that everything's working Wi-Fi first, and then they're going to move down to, making sure that all of the encoding, it'll adjust just like Netflix does. If you're watching a 1080p stream on Netflix and somebody else hops on the internet and is watching something, yours jumps down to, let's say, 720p. This should theoretically kind of do the same thing, where it'll drop it down a little bit so that you can continue playing without having all this lag and stuff like that with your game. So anyway, 2 weeks. I am probably going to be streaming on this channel. If they have it supported. If not, I'll try to see if I can at least upload it. I don't know if my internet can handle doing an upstream and that amount down at the same time, but I'll probably give it a try. I haven't decided. If I get my controller, I might actually take the day off from work. We'll see. If not, I'll probably be playing that night at a minimum, and I'm going to attempt to stream it. I don't know. Google says that they want you to be able to stream directly from the server. So I may not be able to have my camera where you can see me, still have my mic where I can talk and you guys can, watch what I'm playing and see how everything works with the controller and the keyboard and mouse, depending on what I'm playing with. But I'm planning on at least streaming a little bit so you guys can kind of get some initial impressions, see how things are working, if there's any bugs, first day, things like that. When I did the beta, it was amazing how fast it was. I mean, you click play now, and 2 seconds later, you're in the game, you're playing. Actually, Assassin's Creed Odyssey was the game, and you click play now within 2 seconds, and you're in the water swimming towards the beach. It was that fast. No game updates, nothing to download. You just hop on and play. All the updates are done in the background. So, with your PlayStation, your Xbox, your PC, where, you hop on Fallout 76 or you'll hop on Call of Duty, any of those games, and there's a gig or two update that you got to download. That's all gone. You don't have to deal with any of that anymore. So, and you're supposed to be able to basically play on any computer or Chromebook. There hasn't been a lot of Apple talk, but supposedly, it'll work on them as well through a Chrome browser. But if it'll stream YouTube through a Chrome browser, you should be able to play a AAA game like Metro Exodus or Fallout 76, any of those, Cyberpunk 2077. You can play those games on a low $100, $200 laptop that doesn't even have a graphics card in it. You're supposed to be able to play AAA games on those, and that's the beauty of it. It's supposed to be bringing more gaming options to people that can't afford these $1,000, $1,500 gaming machines to play these games. So it's opening up gaming to more people, and as well as I could play. I'm super excited about it because I've always wanted to be able to play a game wherever I'm at, and not just a game, like the game I'm playing. I'm super excited about Cyberpunk 2077, so now I can play that on my lunch at work, or I can play it when I go to my grandparents, or I can play it in places that I normally wouldn't be able to play without buying a $3,000 laptop that's got a built-in graphics card, stuff like that. As long as their internet will handle it, I I should be able to play my AAA game on whatever device I am traveling with. That's what I'm excited about. That's what sold me on Google Stadia right off the bat. So, let's see. Enough about Stadia. I will keep you guys updated. I'm probably going to try to do one of these live streams every week. That way you guys can ask questions about the products I'm working on, products that are going to be coming up, products that you guys want, things like that. So, for example, let's start off with this guy right here. I actually have that there. I have it upside down. Well, I'm still fine-tuning this. I actually have to take my console off of my car and mount this in and kind of measure the distances top and bottom here and here. But this is a 88 to 91. Let's see, this will fit everything except the CRX. So the wagon, the hatch, and a sedan. This is a direct bolt-on piece. One sec. Let me grab the other piece. Okay. I got a lot of stuff on my desk to show you guys. So this is the factory piece. This is the radio bezel if you want to put a single DIN radio in your 88 to 91 Civic. It's a direct replacement. So you basically will unscrew this. There's two screws right here. And you unscrew those. Put your gauges in. Put all three of your gauges in here. And then screw it back in the exact same spot. And then put your outer console, radio console, on the outside. Done. That's it. This doesn't, you don't have to try to get a piece to fit in here and use this piece or whatever. This is a direct 100% replacement drop-in piece. I can also do, a double if you only want a double. I can also do things like a single gauge with a like a turbo timer spot on here if you want. So there's a lot of options. If you guys have something in your car, even push button start, if you want the push button on here with the turbo timer and a gauge, whatever we can fit on this piece that fits, I am 100% for making that for you guys. The other big thing I've been working on, and I've had a lot of interest in it. So this is the CRX radio bezel. At least that's what I'm calling it. So you've got your single DIN up here. You got a pocket. Got your cigarette lighter over here, your charge port, and then your ashtray. So what I did was basically make a replica of this front face that wraps down and comes down here. So I've got a blank. Actually, let me pull up my 3D graphics program here and we'll show you. Give me 1 second. So this is one of the first pieces I've done, and this is still not complete. This I still have to test fit, make sure that all four of these mounting screw holes line up, perfect, things like that. Sometimes they're off just a millimeter or two in and out. So there's not much to the back of this. This is a very simple piece so far. I'll be adding more to it. This is mainly just to test fitment and whatnot. This spot here, instead of putting a cigarette lighter, this spot here will put, let me grab it. It's a dual USB charger. And I'm making it, and I've got a link on one of my other YouTube videos, but I'll put it down here if you guys are interested. But this little guy here, it's just this little dual USB charger. So I get it the right side up. It's just got power and ground on the back, USB 3.0 quick charging on the front, dual. Actually charges pretty quick. It just fits right in there. Obviously you would line it up so that it's straight up and down. So this is things that I'll be adding in to these pieces. Let me pull up. Okay, so let's show you the screen here. Okay, so this is the blank. So as you can see, this is 100% customizable, whatever you want. You want two single DINs with a little bit of space between them. We can do that. My mic back. I'm probably a little loud. I could do the double DIN with, and it looks like we had a little bit of space underneath. We can do a single DIN on the bottom here with 3 gauges. Can do a push button, you know, on the cigarette lighter or the charge ports. There's a bunch we can do, and I still have a little bit more flexibility on top of that. This is pretty much kind of like an OEM replacement style. You guys are probably wondering what this is. So this piece, and let me see if I can rotate this the way I want here. I don't know if it's going to let me do it. So this piece doesn't sit straight up and down. It's actually at about a 30-degree angle this way. I don't know if, I wish it would. I think it's going to let me move it the way I want. Okay, anyway. So what I did was this piece here is actually going to have a tray. And if you guys watch some of my other videos, this will look familiar. This is actually a DC center console tray, one of my design ones. It has a big cup and a small cup, and I'll explain those here in a minute. So this tray, and this isn't the exact one, this is for the DC, but this tray will slide in right through this slot here, and will flush up. I'm going to get it so that it flushes up right on this front edge. It'll go back, you know, back here somewhere. And this is, I got to adjust this, tweak this angle. I don't know how far it's going to go back and how far it needs to come forward and whatnot. So I'll be playing with that. I just finished this piece last night, adding it in. I haven't even had a chance to print it yet because I've got about 6 or 7 print jobs to get done for orders that are going out. So anyway, this will bolt in using the 4 screws. We can customize the front of this to whatever you guys want. I will have 4, 5, 6, you know, I don't want to say generic, but standard options that you guys can choose from if that's all you need. I had a guy hit me up today about making a iPod mini mount, kind of flushing it in here. So, and that's something that I'm willing to do as long as it fits. We don't have to worry about, you know, cutting. I mean, it's up to him, I guess, if he wants to cut the console or whatever. But I'm going to try to fit it in here so it has a custom on. He wants to do some type of magnetic mount. So we're going to, you know, work through some of those. But this is the kind of stuff that I like working on, because now that I've got the core piece built, it's pretty easy to customize this. You know, if we just wanted to do a gauge here on the top, you know, do a 52 millimeter hole, and then I can move it around wherever we need. We'll put it there. And now we've got, you know, there's a gauge pod right there in the center. I've got like this one here. This is one I already did. This would be kind of more of a full race setup, which in a lot of ways doesn't make sense if you're doing it with a cup holder. But, you know, maybe you want to drink when you're on the track. Who knows? So this has 6 52 millimeter gauge pod holes. It also has a cigarette lighter, or not, sorry, the cigarette lighter, but this will be the dual gauge pod, dual USB charger. There we go. Spot on it, as well as the cup holder slot if you want that. And I can take the cup holder slot out. We can make this as much as we want. And then here is the double DIN piece you guys saw earlier. I will be remaking this with the slot on it. Since I already got the slot done on the blank, I'll probably be using that one as my initial, and then once I fine tune this. So that's what I'm working on there for the CRXs, which is kind of the main conversation for tonight, I guess. I want to go over some of the CRX stuff for you guys that were interested. No, don't save that one. Okay. Another thing for the CRX that is pretty much done for the CRXs. I got maybe have a couple more tweaks to it. This is the e-brake center console dual cup holder. So you'll see here there's a screw that goes here, a screw that goes here. This goes that little cover that's under the e-brake. It's about, I don't know, 3.5 inches wide by 1.5 inches. You pop that cover up. There's 2 screws that hold the center console down. You take those 2 out, drop this piece down in. It goes in halfway, and put 2 replacement screws in that I provide. Done. Dual cup holder right there on the CRX. E-brake. The e-brake handle sits right in here, and you can put a cup on each side. You know, can your Monster, your NOS, your Rockstar cans. Put those on, or they fit in there. This will also support larger stuff. You can put your coffees that have the tapered cups. It'll support those. It'll support your 20-ounce soda bottles, and it should do your larges and your extra large fountain drinks as well. They might be a little cramped, but we're kind of used to sticking them down there in the e-brake, stuff them between the seat and the e-brake handle anyway. But this at least will hold. You've got something on the front and the back to stop it from tipping over on a hard brake or hard acceleration. So this piece is available for the CRXs. I'm still tweaking it for the sedans because the seats sit higher on the wagons, sit higher, and they're a little further apart. So I'm just kind of doing some final tweaks on those couple cars as well. CRX. While we're on the CRXs here, where's it at? Oh, that's because it's on the other folder. Okay. So on my DAs, we've got... if you guys haven't seen this, I do have, for those that have done an auto to manual conversion on their CRX, well, pretty much any of the EFs and the DAs, this piece covers up the auto. There's 2 holes in your exhaust tunnel. One big one for the automatic for the shifter, and there's a smaller one that's kind of an angle over here. I'll post a picture up on that side of the screen of what it looks like once you've taken all the automatic shifter stuff off. Anyway, there's 2 holes that you have to cover up, and I originally just covered mine with duct tape just because I hadn't come up with a good solution yet. And I finally came up and said, I'm going to go ahead and 3D print something that will cover that up. So so this one, and I got a couple tweaks still left to do on it. I'm waiting to hear back on a guy. The CRX one, it fits. So this will work for a CRX. I got to readjust. I did some different things with the bolt holes. I'm using some hex bolts instead of just some standard silver 10 millimeter, nut and bolt. The new, actually, I think I've got it. Hold on. All right, let me switch screens real quick so you guys can see this. Okay, so you'll notice this one here. Well, you may not be able to notice in the camera, but anyway, these are the bolts that I got. You can notice that it's a hex head. And it actually this one's not pushed down all the way. It'll flush up with this top here. It's black, so it matches, and it's actually pressure fit, so you can actually get the nut on the bottom and kind of twist it on without having to have somebody on the top, at least initially. And I put all of the bolts in before I ship it, and I do provide the nuts, and the nuts do have the nylon piece in them so that they won't back out while you're driving down the road with all that vibration and stuff, as well as there is a washer in there as well. So this is the final version for the sedan and the hatch. They are done. I don't know if you guys can read that. It's kind of hard to tell with that lighting. The only thing that's really different is the mounting points. There's two little towers here. This is where that screw on the front of your console, on the side there, that's where that screw goes in. And I did adjust these. I made them so they're about 20 millimeters tall. So you can put the screw in. So you can adjust kind of the height of your console a little bit. Because every, different thickness in carpet and stuff like that. If you got aftermarket carpet, you may not be able to push it down as far. So this has some flexibility in it. But this is the final version for the sedan and hatch. And then it also has a lip here where you can put the two factory rubber boots right here, and basically makes it fits and sounds and covers it like a manual. I had a whole bunch of noise when I didn't have it covered. I could hear the road noise and all that stuff, even coming through the tape and whatnot, even with the console, the factory plastic console on. So this, just putting this piece in with one bolt is all I've got mine in so far, because I've been testing with it. Huge difference in sound. So definitely a piece. These are only $30. So if you're going to be doing an auto to manual conversion, definitely pick one of these guys up. So I've got all the EFs and the DA are done. I'm just waiting for confirmation on some fine tuning fitments. I am going to look at an EG. I was going to try tonight, but I wasn't able to meet up with the guy. So I'm going to try tomorrow or Thursday at the latest this weekend for the EG piece. Get that one done for you guys. I'm suspecting the EG and the DC are going to be pretty close to the same, possibly even the EK. And I will make those available to everybody. If they're pretty much the same size as this, they're going to be the same price, $30. With all the hardware included. All you guys have to do, besides finding the two rubber boots, I don't have a way of printing rubber, so you will have to go to the junkyard and pick up the two rubber boots. Other than that, everything else is just literally set this on top, push it through the factory 6 screw holes that are there, and bolt this piece on. Then everything else is the same as your normal auto to manual conversion. That's pretty much it for the CRXs. I am going to be working on a piece that fits, since the CRXs do not have a rear ashtray because they don't have rear passengers. There is that little cover on the back of the console. It's not quite the same size as the one in the center, that this one uses. It's a little bit bigger. I'm going to try to find a way to put like a single or maybe a dual cup holder back there. If you don't like the e-brake one, this one bugs me personally. It gets in the way of, I don't like having stuff right there because it gets in the way of shifting, and the e-brake and stuff like that. I always use my e-brake when I park, so I haven't adjusted to it yet, and it's kind of one of those. I've got other cup holders in the car now, so I don't necessarily need to have this one. For the CRXs, this is a good option. I will, like I said, with the new replacement for this piece, we will have a dual cup holder option in the front. I'm hoping I was able to make it wider than this one. So this one I was limited on width because of the DC. Go back to my other view here. Okay. Oh. So this one I was actually limited on width. So I was only able to get a large one here, which is the same as all my other cup holders. Same taper, same, the top opening is exactly the same. So it should be able to support, your extra large cups and whatnot. And that's what I'm going to be testing with. I just sent one out yesterday, to a guy for him to test I haven't sent that one out yet. I'm sending it out to a guy with a DC console. I'm going to have him test and see how it works, how it fits, things like that, so I can make some final adjustments. But with this one, I believe I can get it wider. I'm going to try to get 2 of the normal size cups to fit on this one for the CRXs. The other nice thing that the cups have is here soon, once I get a couple more of these guys done. These are inserts. So this is my dipping cup insert. If you guys like, I don't think I have one out here. I wish I did. You know, chicken nuggets or French fries. You want a you know, like a fry sauce one or whatnot. This fits in here. It's pressure fit, fits right in there, and now you've got a spot to put your dipping cup. The other thing that I have, I don't know if I've got it in the car. I do have one that fits the Rockstar cans. So it's another one of these that fits the Rockstar cans so they don't flop around because they're quite a bit smaller than your normal cans. And I also have a new one that I just came out with. Let me grab it. This one's a little more for fun. I don't know how many people will actually use this, but it kind of gave me something to do for an hour. So, is a McDonald's, well, a fry box holder. It's a little bit bigger piece, but, you know, sits here, hold your fry box. So technically you could have your fry box on this side if it's big enough, and then you can have your dipping sauce on the other side if there's enough room. You guys can see that there. And all your stuff's held, so even if you hit a hard bump or have to brake really hard or whatever, you're not going to be wearing your fry sauce. So these are things I'm going to make them optional to buy for pretty cheap. I mean, I want them just to kind of be a quick, easy piece. If somebody wants it, it's not going to be an arm and a leg for it. We're talking like $10 for all three of those right there. I mean, I want them super cheap. I'm trying to make them as simple and easy to print as possible, so I can print one of these out, you know, in an hour. Because most of my stuff is by print time. I don't necessarily charge for how long it takes me to design it. So if this takes an hour to print, I charge $2 an hour. Is basically what my printing, my prices are based off of. This piece, you know, the OEM piece for this, the doubled in, goes for almost $400 on eBay. I think it was like $380, $370, $380. You know, that's just insane to me. I understand that it's rare or whatever, but you know, if you want doubled in, you want doubled in, and you shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg, in my opinion, to have that option. If you want an OEM piece because you want an OEM, great, go ahead and pay that. If you're like me and you just want the feature, I don't care that it's an OEM, you know, Honda designed it and made it and whatever. This piece should work just as well. A little more customizable, maybe. You know, with the USB charger, it's more up to date. You know, that piece, I'm hoping I can make that piece and have it out to you guys for $60, maybe $70. It depends on what this tray adds. I kind of aimed a little high on 60, so I'm hoping I can keep it in that range, maybe 65, you know, somewhere in there, which is way better than $380 for pretty much the same piece. And with this one, you'll have cup holders up front that you can actually slide away, and will be, you know, you won't even notice they're there. So that's I don't want to say like my motto, but that's how I do all my pricing. If you want a 100% custom piece, like the guy that wants the iPad mini, if I end up having a lot of time into the design, stuff I have to get, stuff I have to buy, whatever, it'll add into the cost, but it's still not going to be a lot, because it's still a piece that I could turn around, and if somebody else wanted the same thing, I can sell it. And I make my money off of, or the little bit of money that I have. I do this more for the community. It's a side thing for me. So I do, you know, I do it for the fun of it. I originally just designed my dual cup holder that I made for my sedan. I just designed it for myself. I'm like, I want cup holders. And I posted a couple pictures, and it kind of just blew up to this, where I'm making all sorts of, whatever I can get my hands on, whatever people are wanting. So I'm doing a little more for the community, make some money on the side, kind of make it worth my time. That few hours that I spend a week designing products and printing. I have 2 printers. I don't know if you can hear them. I've got a printer right on the edge of my desk over here that's running. And let's see if I can get this without messing up my camera. So you can see right here is my other printer. So those are both, they run almost 24/7. The only time they don't run is when they stop when I'm sleeping or at work. And as soon as I get home or wake up, the next job started. The prototyping, I pay for all the prototyping. I'll probably go through two to 3 spools of plastic a week at $25 a spool. Some of that goes to production stuff that goes out to you guys, and the other, the rest of it goes to prototyping. I mean, this piece here took 26 hours to print. So that's, kind of what I base my pricing off of. This piece took 26 hours. So if I have 26 hours times $2 an hour, that comes out to about $52. And then I have to print the tray, which is probably another 5 or 6 hours to print this guy. So, about $60 is kind of what I'm hoping, and then depending on, if I sell a bunch of them, then, I make my time and my money back off for all the plastic and the printer repair and all that kind of stuff. So, and these printers are picky. Over the last 6-7 months, I've gotten pretty good at keeping them running, but they still give me hiccups, and they will throw me for a loop every now and then. And I have to fiddle with them for a couple hours sometimes to get them back where I want. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else I kind of really wanted to go over. Oh, so in some of the pictures, you guys will see, and like I said, this is still a prototype, so it's not final, but you'll notice here, you can't notice, you can still notice some of the lines. A lot of it's for the NaytonTech stuff or whatever, but the lines that I post online are a lot more defined than what you see here. And that's just, I think it's just my camera that I'm using and where I'm taking the pictures at. This stuff's kind of shiny, so every little ridge is going to have a line on it, like a line from my, I don't know if you guys can see. It just depends on the lighting that you have. They pick up some of the ridges on here. They pick up the light from my overhead lights, and then the phone kind of amplifies that almost. So the lines are a lot more, they stand out a lot more in pictures than they do in real life. So my buddy was going to hop on. He said he was going to be home around 9. Let's see if I had it. I'm trying to think of any questions that I had seen. I had posted this on the CRX forum here. Obviously, price was one. Let's see. People are asking about the EG platform, and I do have stuff in the works for them. got a factory replacement dual cup holder design that I am working on, and it's kind of giving me some... It's being a little bit of a pain. It's mainly just coming the angles, trying to get them to fit right so that it looks like kind of a factory piece. It bolts in, it'll bolt in like factory, no modifications required, but it'll have dual cup holder instead of the weird little pop-up, open-up piece that breaks for everybody. It'll just be a 100% even replacement for that. I was really hoping a couple of you guys would hop on, see if you had any questions or whatnot about what we were working on. I do. Oh, so for the DA guys, this piece, I get it to look right here. I can't remember if it's bigger. I think it's bigger on the front. Sits about like that. This piece on the dash. So there is a little tray, inset tray, on the dash of the DAs. This was given to me by this model I got from a guy. I think he's in California. I'll have to double check his name. I will post his name up top here somewhere down here, just to give him credit for it. But I got this model, so I'm going to be posting or adding some things to this. Mainly gauge pods. I'm going to try to do a triple, maybe even a quad if I can make it work. I don't know. I have to see how much room there is across here. Dual, triple, at least. I don't know what else I would put up here. You know, if you guys have any ideas, definitely post them below. If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell. That way you know anytime else, any other time I go live or I post a video, you guys will get notified. I do tech reviews on here. I've got a 3 or 4 battery pack, 2 Akis battery packs. One's a 20,000, one's a 10,000 milliamp hour, and then I've got, I don't remember either brand name right now, another 10,000 that I'll be reviewing. Just kind of giving some comparisons, some size comparisons, weights, things like that, so you guys can kind of see those. But they've been excellent battery packs, so I'm hopefully going to get that up here pretty soon. I'm going to be hopefully doing more game streaming through this channel as well. As we get Google Stadia live and I get a couple games on there, I will be streaming on there because it won't eat up my internet upload bandwidth as much streaming from there, even though I'll probably be doing my camera once Google gets all that stuff kind of figured out and we go live with that. So yeah, I'm going to try doing a lot more live stuff. I've got some project stuff, and actually, while I've got you guys on, let's go ahead and open up this box. I got a new part for my car today. I have a 91 Civic sedan, and since I've owned it, it's had a little leak in the radiator. This is my new one. Picked this up from, if you guys know, Andy Overby. He had this laying around and offered it to me. Well, not for free. I had to pay for it. But, there's peanuts in here. Anyone want some peanuts? Do a lot of stuff on this channel. We do some unboxings. Man, he wrapped this up pretty good. So if anybody doesn't know Andy, definitely, I've actually gotten a couple things from him. Awesome guy. Always ships when he says, or very close to when he says. We all know that life gets in the way and sometimes things get pushed back a day. Oh, geez, there's more peanuts. Let's see, where's this taped out here? This thing is wrapped up very well. So I've had, the OEM one has had a leak for probably most of this year. I think I got the car in December, got it up and running. Well, it ran, but I had to put a new water pump out. Poke yourself, knives are sharp. Water pump in it, get the auto to manual conversion done. A few other little bugs I had to work out on it. Definitely wrapped up pretty well. Thank you, Andy, for offering this to me, as well as wrapping it up very well. The last thing I want is this guy too. I think I should have grabbed one of my razor blades instead. My knife needs sharpened. Trying to figure out how or what order he wrapped this thing in. Take his time without messing up all the. I try to save all the packing stuff because I use it to ship stuff back to you guys. So the more that I don't destroy, the more I can reuse. I don't have to buy any. That stuff's not cheap, which of course keeps cost of stuff down for you guys as well. Okay. Moment of truth and excitement, I think. Man, I double wrap this thing. One more. Ow. Can't get myself with this. Here we go. Tell me that isn't sexy. Brand new, never used Mishimoto dual core full width radiator. Now this guy, the plans are for my Civic, my sedan. I plan to actually boost it here in the next year. I'm going to run, it has the D15 V2 in it now, but I do have the full multi-point conversion, auto to manual conversion, and an OBD1 conversion. So I'm running OBD1 ECU tuned on chrome with, you know, the full multi-point conversion because it's an LX sedan, so it came with dual point. So I'm starting to upgrade things that are going to need to be upgraded eventually anyway. For the turbo, I'm not going to be running a large turbo. It's a 300ZX. I don't even remember. I don't know the size off the top of my head. I do know that it only runs a T2 flange, so it's not very big. I mean, it's not anywhere close. I'm probably not even a 50 trim. I guess probably put in like the 30s. It's a factory 300ZX. It's brand new. I still got the turbo sitting over there on the bench right here-ish. I got a couple little pieces I got to get for it. I got to find a turbo manifold that will work. I want to keep the AC on my sedan. This is my sedan. I'm actually planning on driving. I'd like to drive it all over the country, but at least, you know, West Coast, Nevada, you know, Arizona, New Mexico area, all the way up to, you know, Seattle. That at least the western states, if not further. So you guys, you know, so I can demo parts, stuff I've been working on for my sedan, things like that, you know, going to shows, seeing you guys. So anyway, I'm planning on building this thing super reliable. I've got a Z6 head and block that I'm going to be putting together and throwing in there. I'm only going to be doing like 10 pounds of boost, mainly just to have some extra power when I get the stereo system in. I'm going to be adding a whole bunch of dynamat. I want this car to be nice, to drive. Kind of a little bit of a luxury car with a little bit more power than what the Civics came with. You know, if I get like 200 horse, I'd probably be happy. So 200 horse with some extra, some extra oomph with the turbo, efficiency of the turbo for gas mileage, keeping the AC on there, everything functional. So yeah, that's kind of the plans for the sedan. That's why I originally started designing the cup holders, because I want a car that has the amenities, the luxury things that our cars didn't necessarily come with, but I wanted to be able to add them. So that's the plan. This guy will be going in this week because it is getting cold here, and I do know that my mixture inside my Civic is not a 50-50 mix. I've been slowly adding just straight water to it as it's been leaking out. So I could be sitting at like a 75-80% water with 20-25% coolant, or antifreeze. So we've been dipping down into like the 20s the last week or so. So that's why this is going in so soon. Nope, I'm not putting it back in that box. So for now, that is here. Oh, I do have these guys. They came last week. I haven't even opened them yet. We'll do the big one first. They're both the same, but so to make room for the turbo and air conditioning, picked up a couple slim fans. This is a 12-inch, and I'm not mounting these to the radiator. These guys are actually going to go on the front side of the AC condenser, and they're going to be push fans. This is for the passenger side, and then I have a 7-inch one that's going to go on the driver's side, which will probably mainly be for the air conditioning. I think it kicks on more for AC than it does for heat, but I think with the dual core in there, full width, and me not running, a crap ton of boost, just the 10 pounds or so. I'm not going to be building the motor. I'm going to rebuild it and set the rings. I'm going to gap the rings correctly for boost, but I'm going to run factory pistons, factory rods, and ARP head studs. Should be fine on 10 pounds without any issues. I mean, as long as it's tuned correctly, I shouldn't have any issues running that setup for a while, at least until I come into a whole bunch of money where I can afford to spend $1,000 on pistons, rods, and things like that. So, that's the initial plans for the sedan. Probably do a little bit of wire tuck, things like that, just to kind of clean it up. And then paint. I do have some rusted quarter panels in the back, like most people do. So we're going to clean those up. And I haven't decided yet. I'm debating if I'm going to go with fender flares, so I don't have to make I can patch the rust. I'm not a body guy, but I can patch the rust, make it look decent, and then cover it up with the fender flares. That will also allow me to run a little bit wider tire. I'd like, my goal would be close to a 15-inch. I think I'm going to go with 15s. 15 by 8 with close to a 0 offset, because I like a little bit of the lip look on there. Tire sticking out just a little bit. I don't want super, and I like the way it looks. I like the stance look with the negative camber to an extent. I mean, this is a little ridiculous, but a little bit, -5 degrees, something like that. It looks good. But for me, where I plan on putting, I'm traveling all over the Northwest, if not all of the West, it's not very practical. So I'm going to try to keep, I want to do zero camber or, half degree at most with, 8-inch wide tires. I don't really want to stretch the tires much if I don't have to. I want to try to run a 205, 215 for traction and cornering kind of stuff. I live in Idaho, so we have a lot of the roads going up to my parents' house up north are very, lots of corners in the roads, lots of windy roads. So that's what I grew up on. So I'm kind of building the car a little more towards that. I haven't decided on suspension yet. I'm actually thinking about doing the max peding rods. I don't know if you guys have seen those. If you haven't, I want to pull them up real quick. Let's go back to this one. eBay. So these guys, and I've heard, positives and negatives on them. I think I'm going to go ahead and get them just to kind of get the car lower to an extent. Let's see if I can find. So they make a set that's about $230. Let's do this. I got to do Civic. I forgot to add in Civic. Civic. There we go. Okay, so like these ones, for example. So these have, and the things like I was looking at doing teens because I can get teens through one of my business accounts for sub $500 range. At least I used to be able to for the ones that had the adjustable dampening. I can't remember they changed the models names a few times over the last few years. They used to be the Street Basis, I think. The Super Streets, I think, was what they originally called. But they don't have the two adjustments here. So I don't think so. Right here, if you guys can see, so this is your height adjustment, and then this is your preload adjustment. The teens only have a preload adjustment, so if you lower them all the way down, you have pretty much no preload on your springs. These have that, out of the box, which is awesome. And then on top of that, these have your adjustable dampening as well. So I think it's 24 ways of dampening. I'm not looking for something super, super stiff. I actually want something that's got some travel to it. Idaho does not have the best roads in a lot of places. So I want something that's going to have, I'm probably going to run these, half dampening or less, at least for my daily. I mean, if I go up in the, in the mountains and I want to kind of get on it a little bit and whatever, I can turn them up. But I'm going to try these babies out and see. I mean, $215 for a set of these. I mean, if they don't ride the best, I mean, they should be able to ride better than the stock struts with eBay coilovers that I have on there now. So I'm hoping I can do that with these, and I've been known to modify and do custom stuff with suspension. So if these don't fit how I want, I'll modify them. My wagon, it was a full, nothing was stock. I don't want to say stock on it. It was stock parts. I had 88, 89 Accord front struts with some generic spring that I found, coilovers on front, custom top hats that I had built. I think they were 1.5 inch top hats. In the back, I was actually running 2001 to 2005 rear struts with a custom fork welded on the bottom to fit the EF, and custom top hats on the top, and a completely different different brand of springs in the back. And it actually rode pretty decent. I never had knocking noises, any of that kind of stuff. It was a little stiffer in the back, but I also towed and hauled a trailer with it. So when the trailer was hooked up to it, it actually rode really nice because it had that little bit extra tongue weight that it needed to hold that back down. And I put 50,000 miles on that suspension with no issues. So, if I have a little bit of issues with this, I'll make something that fits and works right. My biggest worry is that the dampening knob stops working. That's probably my biggest worry on these. So anyway, I'm looking at picking these up. I'll probably do a review on them, let you know what I think. I have ridden in a couple cars that have had the teens, where we've adjusted them all the way down, all the way up, almost all the way down, with maybe a couple notches up. I mean, it rides like a Cadillac. Not that there's no dampening. It actually has really good dampening, but it's soft. So think of it as like when you have coilovers and you hit a bump, and it kind of like bounces, almost like it bounces the back or the front. Usually the back a little bit more because there's a little bit less weight, but it actually kind of almost like it bounces the back off the ground. Not quite, but you kind of know what I'm talking about. Where these ones, it's soft and it kind of absorbs it, but you kind of, I don't want to say you kind of like you can just kind of rock out of it, or you bounce out of it, but it's a gradual bounce. A little more like if you've ridden in a kind of a Cadillac or some of your heavier, I'm trying to think of the Crown Victorias and stuff. You watch them hit a bump, and you kind of see them. They'll take a couple bounces out of it, but they're slow bounces. So they've got decent dampening. It's just that they don't have a high spring rate or a high dampen on it. That's kind of what these felt like coming out of the bumps. But, you crank them all the way up, and it was like riding on a freight train. I mean, you're just on rails. So, and we didn't have to adjust the springs at all. It was just dampening. And I'm kind of hoping these have that kind of adjustment or feel to them where I can run them soft. My daily, I drive 2 miles to work, so I don't need, something super crazy. I just want something that I can get into, get the suspension done and aligned and everything done, and then I can upgrade it later on if I have issues with these. These have a 2-year warranty on them, so if I have any issues, I'll just warranty the things out. So I'm looking at doing these here soon. This is my next big purchase once the radiator and fans, and I've got a header. I'm not going to dig it out from under my four-wheeler. It's a 4-to-1 header I'm going to throw on there that hopefully will fix one of my... I can't rev over 5,500 without the car just losing power. And yes, I've checked fuel. Yes, I've checked spark, timing, all that stuff's on. I've replaced the intake. Well, I've got, the new intake. And it's worse with that. I have a cold air... Well, it's a ram air style intake. Your cheap $30 eBay ones with a Spectra filter on it. The exhaust is 2-inch all the way back with a brand new cat, and I think it's the header has got so much stuff gunked built into it. When I rebuilt this motor back in 2013 for my cousin, it was burning oil like crazy. So I think it just has a whole bunch of stuff gunked up in the header, and it literally has an exhaust restriction. So I've got a new header to put on, but I haven't had a chance to do it. Now that once I get to pull the radiator, I'll have a ton of room in there to work with, and so I'm going to do it then. So I'll probably going to record a bunch of that as well. I'll probably post a video. I don't think I'm going to do it live, but I will make a video of the radiator install, the fan install, because I'll be redoing some wiring on it, the header install, and so there's something else I was going to put on at the same time. But those are the 3 big things. So yeah, doesn't look like we've had anybody hop on, but if anybody wants to come back and watch this, there's a lot of CRX information here, a lot of backstory on me on why I'm doing this, and if you guys have any questions later on, post them below and I can talk about them next time. Let's see, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell, because if you guys want to see more of this kind of stuff, more live stuff, more how-to videos, more parts, if you guys have requests on parts, I have a parts list of things that people want me to make that's over 30 parts deep right now, and that's just in the last month that I've been starting to put the list together. And that's not including my stuff that I'm working on, just the basic cup holders for a lot of the 90s Hondas. So if you guys have something you want, and as I come across that car or I come across that part, then I can build it for you guys. I have a lot of cars. Like I've got a guy, I want to build S2000 gauge cluster adapters. So you bolt the S2000 gauge cluster into my adapter, and then my adapter bolts directly into whatever model car you have, an EF, an EG, EK, DA, whatever, and it'll bolt right in, and it looks like factory, or it bolts in like factory would. It uses all the factory locations and whatnot. You have to do all your own wiring. I'm not going to do that for you. Anyway, but I want to do it, and I've got requests for it, people that want it done. And I know it would be a good piece that people would buy, and it would be worth it for me to do. But I got to get a hold of an S2000 cluster, and to get a new one, I mean, they're $300-400. So I'm trying to track down a used one or a broken one that doesn't work, that I can just use as a model, or even one that I can borrow for a month or so, that I can at least get the initial mold and get my measurements done, and then I can send it back, kind of thing. I've done that with a few people. I've actually had them send me a part, and I used it for whatever I needed. I had one of the wagon lower JDM lower, or USDM lower not USDM, EDM lower radio consoles. They're hard to come by. He shipped it down to me from Canada, and I think I ended up having it for about a month and a half, 2 months. I kept in touch with them and say, hey, if you need it back, I can send it back. And he was really cool about it. I was like, no, just take your time, make sure you get everything you need done on it. And so I was able to make, actually, I haven't even announced these parts yet, but I've got the dual cup holders for the wagons. If you have that lower console, I now have a dual cup holder option that double-side sticky tapes to the top of the console. I think they're $30, just like my other ones were. So if anybody that has a wagon is watching this, you can go to NaytonTech.com, click on wagon, and there are 4 different cup holders for whatever version wagon you have. And I do also make right-hand drive options for those as well. They have been tested. I sent one to a guy in Australia who has a right-hand drive wagon with a lower console, and it worked perfect for him. So don't be afraid to ask for right-hand drive stuff. A lot of the times it's an exact mirror flip. So it's an easy piece for me to do. The DAs are the same way. The dual cup holder that I make for the DAs, it's an exact flip. So all I do is, before I print it, I do a reverse flip on it. The printer prints it backwards, bolts right in, no problem. So yeah, anyway, if you guys have any questions, parts, products, anything like that you guys want to request, post it below. I'm going to try to do a live stream every week. If you guys have a specific time you'd like to do, I get off work at 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. I try to do these after 8, mainly because my 7-year-old daughter goes to bed at 8 o'clock. And so it's easier for me to record without interruptions and things like that after that time. But weekends, things like that, I might be able to do something more in the middle of the day or morning. If you guys are interested in something like that, where you can actually get on and chat and ask me questions, and I can, show you the part and explain what I'm trying to do and whatnot. So, like I said, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers this year is my goal. So make sure you share this. If you know anybody that's got a CRX, any 90s Honda Acura, share these videos, because this is stuff that I'm trying to get out to the communities and whatnot, and share with you guys, so you guys can have things that we've never had before. So yeah, share, like, hit that bell so you know whenever I release a video. And I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I've been on for about an hour and a half, longer than I thought I could actually talk about stuff. I guess, my wife always says that I can talk a ton about cars. Cars, computers, video games. I can talk for hours. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off for the night, and we will see you guys next time.